What are the top neighborhoods to live in Chicago? Most of these neighborhoods are ranked by niche.com as good places to live in Chicago. I'm going to go through them real quick. There's a lot of misinformation out on YouTube specifically. I've seen a lot of people that have moved to Chicago in the last, I don't know, 3, 5, 7 years. Really have never lived here previous to that, and really sell very, very, very little real estate, but they like making videos. So when I watched a few of them, I was horrified at some of the information they were giving out, because completely incorrect as far as neighborhood locations, names. A lot of emphasis on food. There's good food all over Chicago, but we're going to get into the neighborhoods and the real estate and what's going on, so that you know what's happening rather than just restaurants. So I'll make something very clear. You have downtown Chicago as the hub, basically, of the city that I'm going to focus on. And then you have the north side of Chicago, which is everything north of downtown along the lake or fairly close to the lake. So some of the other people were making up names that, I don't know. I won't get into it because it's confusing. But that's the deal. So if you want to live close to downtown, you want to look at, downtown, the Gold Coast right there, some of the most expensive neighborhoods in the city. Lincoln Park is one of the first more residential neighborhoods, a little bit more, about a mile or two away from downtown. Very expensive, one of the best known areas in Chicago. And then as you move north along the lakefront, you have other neighborhoods on the north side, such as Lakeview, also, one of the more expensive areas, single family homes, that will go over $3 million. But, to get a single family, you're usually, in that $1.5 million price range is kind of right in the thick of things. Then you have neighborhoods north of that, getting closer to Evanston, which is a suburb, and you have Lakewood, Balmoral, you have Edgewater, you have Rogers Park. You just keep going. About every half mile to mile, you reach a new neighborhood. And when you do this, the prices will fluctuate a little bit. But I can assure you, all these neighborhoods have interesting things to do, neighborhood festivals, they have great restaurants. There's a lot of great places to live in Chicago, but just focusing on the differences and good places, to live. These are all, neighborhoods on the north side of Chicago. So as you get all the way north, actually where I grew up in Rogers Park, it's the last neighborhood before you get to the suburbs. So looking at this, that's some of the more affordable housing. A lot of apartment buildings though in Rogers Park. As you get further north, single family homes are a little bit more, for the most part, away from the lake in West Rogers Park. And then as you go just another section, say another mile and a half west of the lake. So when you're looking a little bit further west of the lake, you will get more affordable housing, and you will get more of a neighborhoody feel. Like Chicago is in a grid system, so everything, is very simple. There's not too many windy streets or even angled streets, but very neighborhoody, a little further from transportation sometimes, but still pretty decent transportation, even if you have to take a short bus ride to, to a train stop. So, Peterson Park, Sauganash, which you're getting into more like suburban, urban, a little more suburban feel. Some forest preserves, some, more quiet, more secluded neighborhoods. But then if we make our way further south towards the city again, the core of the city, the downtown area, you will have Roscoe Village, which is just west of Lakeview, and then you will have Bucktown, Wicker Park, these are all the neighborhoods that are a little further from the lake, but are, very popular. Lots of interesting things to do. When you get into Roscoe Village, you have primarily single-family homes. A lot of new construction's been built. Roscoe Village is, you know, very active in the community with festivals and things to do. Great schools close by. And then you'll get into Bucktown Wicker Park, which is, you know, a little bit more on the urban side, a little more types of housing, a lot more renters, condos. And then south of there, you start to get into the West Loop, and then south of there you get into UIC campus, University of Illinois Chicago. These are all different neighborhoods, and believe me, they all have some good restaurants and things to do, but there's a great variety of townhomes, condos, and then single-family homes in most of these neighborhoods when you get down into the city. The ones further out are a little bit more single-family heavy, and the ones close to downtown are some of the more expensive ones that you will find. But one thing I can assure you is some of the neighborhoods I just mentioned are not classified as on the west side of Chicago like one of the videos said, which is kind of crazy. The west side of Chicago is a completely different area. So these are all neighborhoods on the north side of Chicago. And then if you bump another couple, you know, 2 to 4 miles west away from the city, what you'll find is, away from the lake rather, is you'll find neighborhoods that are even less expensive. Portage Park is one of them. Norwood Park, Edison Park. These are heavily lived in by, there's like a good population of city workers that live there, because city workers have to live in the city and they sometimes want a little bit more of the suburban feel. So these neighborhoods take care of that, and you know, they're very affordable. But if you want to look the downtown area south, which is like the South Loop, close to Soldier Field, and you also have Chinatown, and then south of there there's Hyde Park, a lot of neighborhoods surrounding University of Chicago. There's a lot of different spots, but I guess the most important thing is to get familiar with these, the prices, the resale, how they do in a market that's trending down, through the glasses of, you know, an experienced person that's been through them all, sold in them for 30 years, and grew up in the city. So, you know, I would just say call, text, email if you need anything at all. Just a quick overview of some of the areas, but, you know, it really bothers me to see misinformation out there, and even some of the photos that are shown are not of the neighborhoods at all. They're being talked about. It's very confusing even for me, so I don't want to see people that are you know, misled or, you know, get the wrong information. So just reach out if you need anything at all. Born and raised here, and one of the very top realtors, work with a lot of our professional athletes and business leaders, trusted by many corporations here to take care of all their relocation. So just reach out if you need me.